It may be spring ball, but Deion Sanders and Colorado have a chance to steal the whole entire spring period on Saturday. I'll talk about that and more on today's episode of Locked On Buffs.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? This is Locked On Buffs, your Thursday episode. I am Kevin Borba, as you see right there. We got an action-packed one again today. No more Nebraska stuff for now, unless something else pops off. We're going to talk about how Deion Sanders, Coach Prime in Colorado, could win the spring. Not just the spring game this weekend, but spring in general. We're going to talk about the notion that they're losing too many players right now into the transfer portal. I think the national media has kind of taken that and ran with it as if there's a problem in Boulder already, and there's really not. And then I'm going to go over my spring game expectations because I will be attending. My flight is, by the time you're watching this, I will be either in Colorado or about to land in Colorado. So very excited for that. But before we do, I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Buffs your first listen every day. We are available wherever you get your podcasts for free. So let's dive right into how Coach Prime in Colorado can win spring. First of all, it's kind of hard to win spring. I think people kind of gloss over spring. Obviously, the true diehard fans of whatever program they're going to be excited about. If you're a fan of Colorado, you're going to be excited about the Colorado spring game. If you're a fan of TCU, you're going to be excited about the spring game. Florida, Texas, doesn't matter. But there's a way to make your spring game seem more important than it actually is, and this isn't a bad thing or a knock on anybody. If everybody's talking about your spring game, that's a win. That their spring game is on ESPN, nationally televised. We all know sold out game, so it's going to be pretty loud. They're going to have a sellout crowd. It's going to be loud. They're going to have tons of recruits there. So many recruits that some are even committed to other programs. It's just they want to be a part of this to see what Coach Prime is doing. And you never know, if it gets a little rowdy and things are exciting, Coach Prime's feeling himself, he may flip a guy or two. Another way to win spring. And this is probably the biggest way right here. You just make your spring game nationally relevant. So obviously it being on ESPN plays a big factor in this, but if you have everybody from all corners of the United States talking about your spring game, which is literally just a scrimmage and means nothing, not even sure if guys will have numbers, because there's only, I think, probably 12 guys, 15 guys that have numbers. If you have everybody in the country talking about your spring game and how good it went, or even if your spring game doesn't go as great as you hope, which I'm pretty sure there's going to be high flying, high scoring, a lot of points. I think the defense is probably not going to look as good as you would hope, but there's going to be a lot of guys joining the team come fall camp. You just need everybody talking about it, word to mouth. I think Colorado can win spring just by simply being the most relevant spring game. We've kind of had, if I had to rank the relevance of spring games thus far, I would say Florida's was pretty discussed just because their quarterback situation was god awful. Texas was discussed because they are one, it's a national brand. Texas is probably, I think I saw a study one time that said Texas's brand is one of the most recognized in college football and in sports in general. So theirs is always going to be talked about. Plus, this is kind of their year to put it all together. So that's why theirs was talked about. Georgia, their quarterback battle, talked about. Ohio State quarterback battle. People want to talk about it. People want to talk about how good they can be post CJ Stroud. And I think that's it for spring games that I would consider to be talked about. But Colorado has a chance to, one, not only be talked about in the sense of they have quarterback that's interesting, they have an offense that's high powered, they have Coach Prime on the sidelines, who I'm sure he's going to be mic'd up in some fashion. There's going to be a celebrity or two there. They have a chance to kind of steal the narrative from everybody and draw everybody's attention because they have all these transfers, even though not all of them are there. People are going to be interested to see what this Colorado program looks like. Here we go. They went 1-11 last year. If you guys don't get that reference, I'm sure he'll be in the comments eventually. I have my guy is out there. He always makes sure to say how many times I say 1-11, and then he puts a little shot emoji. So that's our our little Locked on Buff shot game. We're at 2 right now because I will have to count the explanation. But yeah, Colorado has gone from a very poor program. Honestly, under Carl Durrell this past season, they were the worst program in the FBS. Like, there was no doubt about it. And now Coach Prime is trying to flip that in a matter of a few months. I think we forget that he's only been on the job since January or December. It's insane to see. So basically, to win spring game, he just has to make it a spectacle. And one thing about Coach Prime is we know he can make it a spectacle. That's who he is. It's what he does, and it's not going to be that hard for him to make this a grand old spectacle that everybody wants to tune in and watch. Okay, so before we move on, something exciting is coming to built.com on April 22nd. So this Saturday as well. So not only is the spring game, we have something coming to built.com. I don't have all the details yet, but the excitement is real and it's something you won't want to miss. If you know how Built works, they have the most incredible protein bars in the world, and they do these amazing flavor drops with unreal flavors in limited quantity. So mark your calendars and head to built.com on Saturday, April 22nd to be one of the first to discover what the hype is all about. I can't wait to see what this new flavor is. Make sure to use promo code LOCKEDON15 and you'll get 15% off your order. If I had to speculate, I don't know. I don't like speculating on things like this. I don't even like predicting win totals. So they want me to speculate on a flavor, maybe like a strawberry cheesecake kind of vibe. I don't know. I feel like they have a lot of chocolate because all their stuff is chocolate stuff. So maybe they venture out to a non-chocolate flavor. I don't know. Either way, let's dive back into some Buffs football right here. Transfer portal departures. I'm seeing all these articles and the video of Coach Prime telling last year's roster, I'm bringing my own bags and they're Louis. So if you want to hit the portal, go ahead and do that. And now Colorado has had 23 total people enter the portal from this last team. And all of a sudden there's like this narrative that Colorado Coach Prime is like, he overdid it. And it's like, oh goodness, he said hit the portal and now everybody's hitting the portal. This is exactly what him and his staff want. Okay. The guys that have hit the portal, no offense to them. It's just, let me pull this up too. No offense to them. It's just they wanted them gone. They wanted as many people, not these guys in particular. I'm sure there's a few guys in there that they would have been like, you know, it would have been nice if he stayed. But they wanted to bring in as many transfer portal guys as humanly possible. And the best way to do that, and pretty much the only way to do that, is to have guys leave. You need roster spots to open up. And if you don't have roster spots to open up, then you can't have guys come in. And so in terms of guys leaving, no one new that I'm aware of has entered the portal as of yesterday. We have Chance Main, who wasn't with the program anymore, Dylan Dixon, Keyshawn Mills, Nico Reed, Jail Stacks, Devion Harris joined. Austin Smith, Caden Ludwig, Ryan Williams, Tyus Martin, Willie Gaines is another guy who joined, and then Simeon Harris, Naeem Rodman was a new addition, Alan Baugh, Zach Courtney at tight end. So a lot of these guys, the defensive line, that is probably the hardest the position that they're targeting the most in the transfer portal. If you go check out my article over at Athlon, I've been tracking who they're offering and who they're trying to be and who they're in contact with. And there's a lot of defensive linemen, some edge rushers, some defensive front guys. Tight end, they have Seydou Traore. They're already targeting Varquez Gums, who is the number 4 ranked player in the portal out of North Texas, a tight end. So for some of these guys, the writing is on the wall. It was admirable that they tried to stay and compete. It just didn't work out. I think that's the hard part about this modern era college football, but it's also the good part because these guys wanted to try and compete, play for Coach Prime, because obviously who wouldn't want to play for Coach Prime? He's one of the most exciting, polarizing figures in college football. And now you have a chance to play for him as your head coach and win some football games and be a part of something great, because obviously I think Colorado will be a great experience. It will be a great team eventually under Coach Prime. But for some of these guys, it just didn't work out. Their roles were, I don't want to say the roles were solidified already, but with all these transfers brought in already, you had to think that it's going to be tough to – this guy is going crazy out here. Okay. You had to think that these guys are going to really be challenged by one another to, I don't know, maybe fight for a spot, and they just didn't have that chance. You have so many spring practices. There's 15 total. You really only have counting this week because the spring game's this week, and most of these guys entered at the beginning of the week. You have maybe 10 practices to really show yourself and prove who you are. And for some guys, it just doesn't work out like that. So, I don't understand this notion that all of a sudden Colorado has lost so many guys that Coach Prime's kind of invitation for them to enter the portal has gone wrong. This is exactly what he wanted. They're going to bring in a ton of more transfers. They've already brought in, I think the number's at 28 transfers and counting, with the most recent being the Jackson State wide receiver, and they're trying to go after another Jackson State wide receiver. So they're trying to bring in as many guys as possible to really help turn this team around. And honestly, I think it'll be for the better. It'll be interesting to see where all these guys end up because with all these players leaving Colorado, other programs around the country are going to go after Nico Reed or whoever it may be, Chance Main, and get a guy who's a really quality guy, really quality player, and they're going to use him to their advantage, as they should, So, yeah, don't be surprised to see more guys enter. If you're a Colorado fan and you're seeing all these things saying that Colorado is losing too many guys or something, that's not possible. There's no way they have lost too many guys. If they started to lose like their transfers or like key players that were going to start, then I'd be a little concerned. But they're losing guys who, and this happens every time there's a new coach. Guys have to filter out. It is what it is. You got to filter some guys out to bring some guys in, and this is exactly what this is. So do not be shocked here. Also, I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Buffs your first listen every day. For your second listen or for your friends or whatever, just make sure to share this podcast. We have so many great episodes out there. Some of them are what we call evergreen, so they apply to basically any time. So make sure to check them out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's talk about spring game expectations. Okay, I am going to Boulder. This will be my first Boulder appearance in the Coach Prime era. I already booked my hotel, booked my flights. My flight, by the time you guys are watching this, will be in a couple hours. I'm just excited. I think, for one, there's going to be a ton of people there. 50,000 people. I feel like it's going to be 50,000 plus. I feel like there's going to be some standing room only type of situations. Here's what I'm excited to see in terms of the roster. I'm excited to see Deion Sanders. We know he has a massive arm, and they've been talking about how strong his arm is, how he could push the ball over the field. I'm excited to see Travis Hunter, who will play both ways in the game. I think we're going to be able to see what he does at wide receiver. I'm excited to see Jimmy Horn, Dylan Edwards, the freshman. I'm excited for this offense. You bring in a Sean Lewis offense, and things will get fast. They're going to get explosive, and I want to see how coherent they could be. I would say my biggest concern on the offense is the offensive line. Not because I don't think Coach Prime has done enough to bring guys in. It's just the reviews that we've been getting so far. It's not that the offense line has been bad. They just haven't been special yet. They haven't adapted to the speed of the system, which, I mean, it's a very fast system. They run a play every 30 seconds. So that's a lot of movement for some big fellas, Defensively, I'm excited to see this pass rush. We already have Jordan Dominic there. I think obviously the defensive line's a little thin now because I think it's like 13 or so guys they've lost. They've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've lost 5 defensive linemen to the portal within the past week. So they have some ground to make up. And really, it's just, I think the defensive line will probably look worse. And this is the one bad part about being on national TV, is if Colorado's run game starts gashing them, and it's like, well, we only have 5 starting defensive linemen available, or 5 scholarship defensive linemen available. It's like, people don't know that. And I hope ESPN does like a good job of covering that, kind of saying that on the broadcast, because not that it matters what the narrative is, but if the narrative, you don't want the narrative, if you're Colorado, going back to how to win the spring game, you don't want the narrative to be, oh, they brought in all these transfers and they look like they suck. That's probably worst case scenario, because then everybody's going to buy into that hype and be like, oh, they did bring in all these transfers and they're not very good. What is going on, Coach Prime? No. So I want to see what they do with that defensive front. Secondary wise, I think that'll be interesting too. They have, in terms of the secondary, I think it's one of their stronger groups. They have obviously Travis Hunter, who hasn't played that much corner this spring. So it'll be interesting to see who or how well he does there. And then we got Cameron Simon Craig, or Yeah, Salmon Craig. The Jackson State transfer. At safety, Miles Slusher, the Arkansas transfer at safety. I think that'll be a good test for Shedeur Sanders. I kind of want to see Travis Hunter match up with one of the better wide receivers when with Shedeur throwing because we've seen them connect so many times. Now I want to see them go against each other. I think that'd be a great way to kind of see where Travis Hunter is skill set wise. Obviously, he hasn't been taking reps at corner, so it's like, is he a little rusty? Is he just gonna step right back in and be the guy that Coach Prime said is him? Yeah, just the other day, Coach Prime. Obviously, I did an episode about Coach Prime saying that Travis Hunter was better than he was at this age and has the opportunity to play both ways, and he wishes he had that, but he didn't. And so he's saying Travis is better than me right now. He also said what the kids say or whatever. Travis is him. And what that means is he's good. He's really good. And so I'm excited to see Travis Hunter. I'm excited to see a lot of these guys in person because I mean, as cool as it is to see these YouTube clips from Madewell Media and all the team social media, it's not the same seeing them in person. So I'm excited to see them in person. Boulder wise, I think this will be my first time exploring Boulder. I'm just excited to get get the vibe of it. I think I've had multiple friends go there and say that they've loved it and they would live there. So I'm excited to see what Boulder's got to offer. I will say though, the weird little Airbnb thing, all the Airbnbs in Boulder was like you had to stay with someone, like someone who lives there, and you just like rent out a room. That wasn't my speed. That was a little. I've never done that. I don't. That's like what are those hostels things? I'm not a hostel guy. So we'll see how that goes. But I do think the spring game has a ton of potential to pop off, and I'm very excited for it. Very excited to see Boulder. So without further ado, I wanted to end today's episode. I got a few minutes left to kind of discuss spring bold predictions, spring game predictions. I think just to kind of establish Shedeur Sanders as a passer and an overall leader, I think there's going to be a steady diet of deep balls from Shedeur to whoever it may be, whoever's streaking down the sideline. I think they want to show off his cannon. They want to show off that he could adjust to this level because I think realistically, a lot of people are still doubting Shedeur, and it's fair. I mean, he hasn't played at this level yet, and I know you guys are going to get on me. I'm just saying he hasn't played football at this level yet. He's obviously very capable. He had Alabama offers, Florida State offers, but nobody's seen him play at this level. So this is the closest thing we've seen to him play in a Power 5 game. So there's going to be excitement there. I think bold prediction, there's going to be a steady diet of him just airing that thing out. I think if I had to pick like an MVP of the game, and I was kind of going back and forth because there's just so many good guys out here. I think I would have to go Jimmy Horn would be one of them, or one of my potential candidates. And then I think Seydou Traore should be someone that we see a lot, but I don't know if it's going to be a tight end type of day. I haven't really heard much about him. So I'm going to go Jimmy Horn or freshman running back Dylan Edwards. He's just super fast, and I think when you have a defensive line who is going to be as thin as Colorado's because of all the guys leaving right now, and the fact that not all the other transfers are there yet, it kind of leaves up the running back room to kind of take advantage. Defensively, bold prediction here. I don't know how bold this is, but I don't know if they've announced the format yet, but usually it's the one offense versus the two defense, and then the two offense versus the one defense. So if I'm the one defense, I would imagine there's going to be forcing a couple turnovers. I'm calling for 2 interceptions off the second team guys. If it's first on first, I think that's great, and I'll call for maybe just one. I'd put the over under mark at a half and go over with just one. And I think in terms of celebrities, this is a bold prediction. Wiz Khalifa, I believe, is somewhere in Colorado at this time performing. I think he makes an appearance. Not sure, not reporting anything. This is just me speculating. I think we get like a Wiz Khalifa sighting. I feel like we get a Lil Wayne sighting too. I don't know why Lil Wayne would be touring the Colorado campus a few months ago if he didn't have intentions of coming back. And I think this would be the perfect time to come back. Maybe just taking the sights, taking the game. It's going to be, he was excited over the empty locker room. I mean, the empty locker room looked great. The Colorado facilities are just amazing, but imagine how excited Lil Weezy is going to get for a spring game sellout, So excited for that. I think also bold prediction wise, I think out of the whole list, because, and I haven't talked about this yet, there's multiple 5 stars. I think there's 3 or 4 5 stars coming, with names like Williams Nawarni, Dylan Stewart, Aaron Butler's high up there, Brandon Davis Swain, Boo Carter, Stacey Gage, Jason Robinson. I think the list is probably at close to 20, if not over. And I think Colorado, this is a bold prediction right here. I think Colorado lands a commitment or two, whether it's a silent commitment or a public commitment. I think they secure one. I just think the spring game is going to be too exciting an event. And some of these guys, this may be the thing that they're looking for to get to consider Colorado even more. And for some guys, this is like an official who it's an official visit and they want it to go well because they already like Colorado. So very excited to see what's going on here. I appreciate you guys for making Locked On Buffs your first listen every day. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to share this with your friends, and make sure to tune in tomorrow, my pre-spring game episode. I'm excited to see what happens with Colorado this weekend. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Have a great Thursday, and I will see you guys tomorrow.